Everywhere Donald Trump looks, people are turning on him. In his own administration, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are throwing Pam Bondi under the bus, and along with her, Donald Trump. And the MAGA media, Tucker Carlson, is ripping Donald Trump to shreds as his MAGA supporters leave in droves. And now his own propaganda outlet in Fox is turning on Trump as well. And we saw that this morning as they questioned Donald Trump over his Epstein failure. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting the work that we're doing. Now, before we can get into how the Fox host ripped into Trump for his lies, I want to start with Jamie Raskin, who pointed out the mistake Donald Trump made in his post last night that is really going to cost him.
The deep state is mega parlance, essentially, for anybody who doesn't follow orders from Donald Trump. I mean, they have sacked dozens of experienced federal criminal prosecutors simply because they did their jobs in working on the January 6th case, the January 6th investigation and prosecution. And of course, Donald Trump pardoned more than 1,500 convicted insurrectionists and rioters who assaulted federal police officers and engaged in other crimes. There were 140 of our officers who were wounded, injured, disfigured, permanently disabled by this attack. And the January 6th Select Committee report lays it all out. They've not laid a glove on a single factual statement in the entire report. And yet, I suppose this is what they're calling the deep state, or part of the deep state. And that really is just in the realm of conspiracy theory and fiction. And I'd love to debate any of them about any part of the findings of the January 6th Select Committee report. But on the question of child sex abuse, look, you could say that we've got an epidemic of this across society. We've got it in schools. We've got it in universities. We saw it at Ohio State. We saw it at Michigan State. We saw it in the Boy Scouts. It's affected a lot of different religious organizations and churches. And so by covering up, they are just reproducing and spreading the conspiracy theory and the anxiety about why this is happening. But you don't have to blame some shadowy deep state. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi are the ones who've got the power to release the Epstein files. So they're the closest thing we've got to the deep state right now, and they should go ahead and release all of the Epstein files and put an end to this.
I said it last night before I could even gauge what the reaction online and from MAGA was going to be, but Donald Trump Streisanded himself. He brought more attention to a scandal he is trying to distract everyone from. He told us, look away, look at Obama or Clinton or Comey or Biden, and it is only blown up in his face in the worst possible way. Donald Trump has really just shown that he is panicked now more than ever, and even his MAGA supporters on Truth Social recognize that, because last night Donald Trump got a little taste of his own medicine. Trump gets ratioed by his own Truth Social followers over Epstein post. Donald Trump tried to shut down growing chatter about the Jeffrey Epstein files, but it just fell flat. It exploded in his face. In a rare and telling moment, the president got ratioed on his very own social media platform, Truth Social, by the very MAGA loyalists he once could count on to amplify every post. So it's not just the vocal MAGA influencers who aren't buying it, it's the very rabble he loves to rouse who are calling BS. For the uninitiated, getting ratioed is a social media shorthand for when a post receives far more replies than likes or reposts, usually a sign that the audience disagrees with or is angry about the content. It's a public drubbing, and one that's typically reserved for establishment figures or media villains, not Trump, and certainly not on Truth Social, a platform custom built to be his digital stronghold, yet that's precisely what happened. So as we pointed out with some comments last night, MAGA is turning on Trump. They are furious. And so is Fox, who started the morning by questioning Donald Trump and calling out his lies.
Obviously, there are lots and lots of questions that have been swirling about Jeffrey Epstein for a long time, for over 10 years, and the government's involvement in it. If there's anybody who could walk in and say, okay, we've resolved all of the questions and there is nothing here, it would be President Trump and his crew. The problem is you can't really do it without giving some explanation.
Especially the simple things like, you can't tell me that 1,000 people were hurt and that there are no people out there that we can arrest. You can't tell me that, oh, sorry, we don't have a list. Fine, don't have a list. Tell me who the perpetrators were. Let's depose every single person who might have had a chance to get on that list and might have been out there at that island, and let's talk to them. Let's find out what happened. You're telling me other videos out there in New Mexico and in the island and in New York, and nobody saw anything? I don't buy it, and that's why they need to get out there and face the fire. Doesn't have to be long, but you have to answer questions to the American people, because absent that, the story won't die, and that's a distraction.
Donald Trump has told so many lies about the Epstein files that there's not much more he can say at this point. He's already said that they do exist, so he can't tell us that they don't. But at the same time as he's saying he won't release them because there's a lot of phony stuff in there, he is also saying that they were written by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden. So if they were, and we can all agree that they were then false, why not release them, Donald? If you're saying that everyone knows that Barack Obama wrote the Epstein files, what would you have to lose in releasing them and saying that they're all a lie? Donald Trump can't even get his foot out of his mouth. There's nothing he can do at this point to try to save himself from this lie. And all the conspiracies that he's pushed that have backfired only amplify it more. He is drowning in his own lies right now, and it's not just on the Epstein files. It is on his terrible trade war as well, where one of Donald Trump's stooges, Kevin Hassett, was confronted this morning because the TV appearances only got worse for MAGA World, and we can see his complete meltdown. You are going to want to see this because it confirms everything you have ever believed to be a lie about Trump's tariffs.
Data.
Well, as you know, a lot of economists say that the inflation will be coming, and that there were certainly a lot of imports that were brought in the anticipation that tariffs would be placed. But let me ask you about one new set of tariffs that he announced on Brazil. 50% new tariff on Brazil. Brazil had a $6.8 billion surplus last year. In fact, the U.S. hasn't had a trade deficit with Brazil since 2007. I mean, almost 2 decades. So why are we putting a punishing 50% tariff on Brazil?
Well, bottom line is the president has been very frustrated with negotiations with Brazil and also with the actions of Brazil. In the end, though, we're trying to put America first. I think that a lot of people, when I'm talking to negotiators from other countries, at some point they'll say, what did we do wrong? And what I'm trying to get, the message we're all trying to get across is this is about America getting itself ready for the golden age by getting our house in order, by getting our tariff and trade policy and tax policy exactly where it needs to be for a golden age. And normally it's not necessarily about a specific country, but with Brazil it is. Their actions have shocked the president at times, and he's made them clear about that.
But I don't understand how you're saying it's about America, because the president has made it quite clear that what he's upset about is how the Brazilian Supreme Court has handled the criminal case involving former President Bolsonaro.
I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is that what I've been saying with most countries was that it's really about us getting the tariffs in order. And I think that this tariff for Brazil is a lot higher because of the president's frustration with Bolsonaro. And the fact that Bolsonaro himself, anyway.
But can you explain to me, because I find it confusing here, on what authority does the president have to impose tariffs on a country because he doesn't like what that country's judicial system is handling a specific case?
Well,
I mean, how
if
is
he
that?
thinks it's a national defense emergency, or if he thinks it's a national security threat, that he has the authority under AIPA.
So how is it a national security threat that, how Brazil is handling a criminal case against its former president?
Well, that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing. I mean,
so what is it? I mean, I've asked what it is. I mean, it seems that that's what President Trump's talking about. He's talking about his anger and his frustration. He's been quite candid about it with the Bolsonaro case.
Right. Well, the bottom line is that what we're doing absolutely collectively across every country is we're onshoring production in the U.S. to reduce the national emergency that is that we have a massive trade deficit that's putting it at risk should we need production in the U.S. because of a national security crisis. And this is part of an overall strategy to do that.
But again, as we've just established, we have a trade surplus with Brazil, not a deficit. And we've had a surplus with Brazil for 18 years.
What a complete implosion. It has always been a stunt. It's always been a PR trick. It's always been just bluster and bluffs from Donald Trump. He does not know what tariffs do still. And I do think that is a failure of the media for not pushing Donald Trump more. It's always these open-ended hypotheticals that don't actually push back against him. We need to be more confrontational with the way that we approach Donald Trump's stooges when they go on the morning shows, actually push back against them. But it's no surprise that this has always just been a tool for Donald Trump to grift, for Donald Trump to play the markets, for Donald Trump to pretend that he's tough, and it doesn't just stop there. He's also trying to pretend he's tough with his illegal deportation plan, which Senator Alex Padilla was calling out this morning.
Friday is that the tactics that ICE is using are a likely violation of the Constitution, suggesting that immigration agents are detaining people, quote, based on race alone. Holman said that's just not true. What do you think?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time the Trump administration tries to just dismiss a court order. And so it's our job to ensure that we uphold the law, uphold the Constitution. Holman has said it very clearly in other interviews. They're not even asking for significant findings to detain people. They're going based on appearance, his words, not mine, based on occupation, his words, not mine, based on accents, physical appearance. Then what if I was outside of Home Depot, because I like to do some work around the house, not dressed in a suit? Would I be a target of ICE enforcement under Tom Holman? Probably. And it's just wrong. It's not just due process rights that have become the concern, but racial profiling. When federal agents involved in immigration enforcement are using racial profiling, they're not enforcing the law, they are breaking it.
Tom Holman, even more than Donald Trump, might be the biggest fake tough guy I've ever seen. Because one day he'll go on Fox and say that he's arresting AOC and he's kicking down doors and he's ready to rumble. Also, he's got a weirdly small head for his body. I don't know if anyone's pointed that out to you, but he does. If you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But then the next day, aside from the head thing, he goes on CNN and Caitlin Collins says, oh, we saw this with Newsom. You said you were going to arrest the governor. Are you going to do that? And then with his marble mouth, he's like, well, I don't think that I said necessarily I was going to arrest Governor Newsom. I don't think I did that. And to translate, that's, well, I don't think that I wanted to arrest Gavin Newsom. I don't know. Maybe the governor made me scared. So, because I'm Tom Homan and I'm so scared of brown people. That's what he does. This is an entire administration. It is the taco administration, which is weird considering how racist they are. That's a bad joke. But Tom Homan, seriously, step up if you're going to make these claims. Is this just the whole theme of Donald Trump's administration? Is that consistently they don't fulfill any of their promises? Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe they don't actually do anything that they say. And it's our job to call that out. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.